Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Today is the 20th of October of our Lord 2020-25. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Motel Noah. The rumors of the show's demise have been greatly over-exaggerated and, dare I say, overstated. I was not I was not red slipped, pink slipped by the FCC. That did not happen. It's fiction. It was made up. I was not senselessly thrown into the back of a U-Haul in some zip ties by some ICE agents running rogue here in Chicago. I was also not... What was I doing? Did you see the... So Trump confirmed, he's like, yeah, we've been running dark ops in Venezuela. That's been us. Yep. It's like, well... Pete Hegseth is more, whatever. Okay. Thanks for confirming it. Cool. That's us. Awesome. Did you guys see they hit another boat in the Caribbean? And there were survivors this time. Now, there had been survivors in the past, the last, like, I don't know, how many of these boat strikes have they done? Like, a couple at this point. I don't know, 5 maybe, give or take. Give or take 5. There was survivors for, like, 1 or 2 of them, and then I don't know, whatever ships they had nearby, they were just like... Some like Captain Phillips, like, oh, okay, whoops, gone. There were survivors this time, and then they were thrown onto a vessel, a Navy vessel, and I don't. What's going on with them now? Are they going to get a criminal trial? I don't know. Oh, right. I'm sorry. The joke was that I was one of those people. Right. That's what I was doing this whole time. That's why there was no episode, is I was actually on a boat with Trenday Rockwater. And we were moving drugs. It's crazy just conceptually what they're doing, because it's like you could wait until they like set foot in like Key West or something, because then it's, well, I guess no, because then you don't have the excuse to blow them out of the water. Then you actually can't do that, that's what they want to do here. There's like a show of force thing. They swing it around their head a little bit, and just, we got these missiles to burn. We've been sitting on this. We've been doing war in the Middle East for a while. It's been a couple years. It's been like 5 years. When did we get out of Afghanistan? Was that 2020? It's been 4 years that we've been sitting on these bombs. And we just been giving them all to Ukraine, and like, but we want to use some of them. Well, you can't wait for these guys to get up on the shores of Key West if you want to blow them out of the damn water. You have to do it in that sort of where the line is blurred, international waters. That's why they're doing this. Oh, okay. It's regime change. But it's painted in a counter narcotics chartreuse. You know, that's what they're going to... This is being done in the name of counter-narcotics, but it's actually like they just want to kill... with Maduro? Is that who it is? They want to kill Maduro? Okay. I guess. Trump's like, yep, doing a bunch. So I was one of those guys. Just took me a while to get home. We'll talk a little bit more about why I actually wasn't. We'll do it at the end of the show. Hey! The Tigers season is over, and before... It sounds like I'm about to do a thing about baseball. If you don't care about baseball, I would actually beg and implore you even to stick around for a second, because we're going to be explaining something that is a big problem in baseball. We're going to do the hashtag economics of baseball, I guess is maybe what we can call this. Without talking about the Tiger season actually being over, you know, the last game that they played against Seattle went 15 innings after 12. I was like, don't care, going to sleep. Don't fucking care what happens to this team. I will wake up in the morning, and if we lost, then thank God they finally let me go, and I can just be like, all right, you guys weren't good anymore, and that's fine, and I was over it. Thank God they're dead. Or it's like, okay, well, bring on Toronto, and then, okay, I woke up and we lost. Thank God, okay? Here's the problem. So Skubal pitched in that game. A man who I believe is pound for pound the best pitcher on the planet, is obviously without question the best arm that the Tigers have, and is most likely about to lock up back-to-back Cy Youngs in the American League. There's a non-zero chance that in that game he threw his final pitch as a Detroit Tiger. A final pitch, by the way, which was 101 down the middle of the plate on Cal Raleigh, who... We have not been shy on this show of saying we hope he wins the MVP. Okay? Skubal fed that guy 101, 99th pitch of his outing. What was that, his 13th strikeout? Which was I think it was 13, give or take 1 or 2. Skubal had the most strikeouts in the history of Major League Baseball in the postseason in a closeout game, in a win or go home game, I should say. Win or go home game, most strikeouts ever by a pitcher in the history of the postseason in Major League Baseball belongs to Tarik Skubal. That may have been his last outing as a Detroit Tiger. That's very scary. And it's bullshit. Let's explain why I think this. The Detroit Tigers have 1 year of control with Tarik Skubal. We got him for 1 more year, and then 365 days from right now, he will be a free agent. His rookie deal is officially up. He can go wherever he wants, unrestricted, right? I believe this player is he's the best pitcher in baseball, okay? And is for damn sure the best pitcher we've had since like Verlander and the whole Scherzer thing and Fister, Honorable Sanchez and David Price, blah, 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 blah. I can name all these guys, right? But Verlander is the gold standard. If you go back further than that, you talk about, like Jack Morris and the Bird, Fidrich, right? So this is one of those Tigers pitchers, a guy that this is who you pray to God you end up with a guy like Tarik Skubal, okay? I believe that this winter will play out one of 3 ways. Scenario number 1, the Tigers know that they have a year left to get this done, and they acknowledge everything that I just said about him and how truly unhittable he is and how you just cannot prepare for a guy like Tarik Skubal if you're an offense. What he wants to do more often than not is just kind of going to happen to you, and you're just going to, there's nothing you can do about it, okay? Let's say the Tigers know all of this because there's no way that they don't. And they say blank check to Tarik Skubal. Write down any amount that you want. Let's say they offered him somewhere in the ballpark of 10 for $500 million, okay? 10 years, $500 million, throwing out arbitrary figures. What's going to happen is Skubal's agent will say, yeah, it's a good amount of years. We like that dollar amount. But if you wait a year, the Yankees or the Dodgers, think about what they're going to pay you. Because no matter what, in a salary capless league, the Tigers will not be able to outbid these guys. It's just not going to happen. It's never happened, and it won't start now, right? So, when that happens, you're led to option number 2. Or option B, however I framed this in the beginning, whether I did 1 or A. The second thing that I think is going to happen is they're going to say, okay, well, I guess we just have to bite the bullet now. Because I just think this isn't a guy that you move at the deadline, right? You don't just like wait and see how it's going to go and then you move him at the deadline. If worst case scenario, his value is completely gone at that point because then he's only a 2-month rental for whoever goes after. So I don't think that's realistic, right? You're going to have to trade him this winter. You get some bats, hopefully guys who are just going to impact the team, next season immediately. And it's not like a prospect. Baseball trades can be so boring if you really don't know the prospects, which I pretty much never have outside of like who the top 2 guys are and, in farm systems. Like that's just not, I don't care about that. So whatever they get back, it's like, it's not going to be Tarik Skubal, Okay. Or option 3, you say, all right, he won't sign the blank check. It's not going to happen. Maybe we just go all in and we don't like any of these trade packages. Like there's nothing out there that excites us. Nobody wants to play ball with us, so to speak. And so we're just going to go all in with this guy. And we're going to do one last one. Because there's this like misconception out there that Chris Ilitch won't spend money at all. Like at all? No, that's not true. Not really. Like this year's payroll was $60 million more than it was the year before. Like Alex Bregman didn't want to come here. That's not Scott Harris's fault. That's not Illich's fault. That's not AJ Hinch's fault. It's nobody's fault. Alex Bregman did not want to be in Detroit a winter ago. And so like they did, I don't know, like they spent money and it worked for the first 4 months of the season until it just kind of didn't. And Riley Green struck out 200 times. You know what I mean? And then the one guy who you would have expected to have struck out 30 times throughout the postseason, Javi Baez, struck out the least amount of times on the entire team. He only struck out 3 times in the postseason. Javi Baez. An amazing season from that guy. Could not have worked out better for him this year. Just been outstanding. It's like the only bat that worked in the postseason. It was really cool to see from him. I just felt bad that it just didn't fucking matter in the end because the team stunk, man. They just stunk. And so they go all in with Skubal, and you cross your fingers and you hope that you win a World Series knowing that he's going to walk no matter what, right? Unless he has a massive change of heart and it's really just about how much he loves Detroit and how much he loves what we're building here and shit like that. And so you get like something of a discount, right? This is just how baseball goes. This is just how it works. And we've seen or heard in recent days that the Detroit Tigers and Tarik Skubal are reportedly $250 million apart in negotiations right now. It's early. It's early. You know, each party involved here is kind of. Now, I hope that they haven't just started these conversations, you know, but maybe they have. I don't know, give them the benefit of the doubt. I guess that's not true because we also know that last year they offered him an extension 4 years for less than $100 million. Woof. For a guy that had just won the Triple Crown and the Cy Young. Woof. That's scary. How serious are we about this? Okay. Now, $250 million apart. It's not, that actually might not be that crazy because that could come down to years. If they were offering Skubal 4 for less than 100 a year ago, maybe it's 5 for 250. Maybe they're at 5 for 250 and the figure that we mentioned before, again, arbitrarily, was 10 for 500. Well, if you just get the years on that deal from 5 to 10, that's the money. What's $250 million? Boom. Give them the 5 extra. What are we talking about? This is Chris Ilitch and his fucking bullshit. That's what this is, the owner of the Tigers. But Mike Ilitch, God rest his soul, his amazing father, the shithead Chris Ilitch, it's essentially Logan Roy dies, and if Greg and Roman if they were like if they were each the same character, if Greg and Roman were the same character, now they're running fucking Waystar Royco, right? That's what's happening here. Mike Ilitch loved spending money. Mike Ilitch loves spending money on the Tigers specifically. We've talked about it on this show before, dude. Like, for people my age, the golden years of Tigers baseball for them was like the early 2010s, early to mid 2010s, right? 2006 was cool. World Series was awesome. Maglio sending us on a walk-off home run in the ALCS rocked. One of the best moments of my life. But then there was some weird years in between, and then once the aforementioned all these pitchers that we have coming in, you got Prince. We talk about all the pitchers. Mike Ilitch wanted to pay David Price. He wanted to pay Scherzer. He got Verlander on a second contract. He gave Miguel Cabrera a 100-year contract worth $500,000. Well, $500,000. Million years, $500,000 for the best hitter that's ever lived. No, gave Miguel a million years and a $10 bajillion, right? And even the back half of that contract was brutal because he wasn't good anymore. But it was like he was cashing in on what he did for us. And it was like, brother, just hang out. We love that you're here. Like, it didn't matter. We didn't care that he was overpaid. Because it was just, again, it wasn't even that he was overpaid. You get what I'm saying. He's the best hitter that's literally ever lived. Anyways, loved spending money. Victor Martinez, Prince Fielder, had Johnny Damon for like 1 year. That was cool. Johnny Peralta, like, it's so funny to me that the Tigers spent so many years with just the most insane bats and the most insane arms in the rotation and out of the pen. And the one fucking thing that they never got, and that Dombrowski or Ilitch or Jim Leland, that nobody ever thought, was to get a closer. It just that we went through Todd Jones, we went through Fernando Rodney, was Al Albuquerque, was he in there a few? Did he come up? Man, as this Jose Valverde, oh my God. These are all heart attack guys. Heart attacks between Rodney, Valverde, and Todd Jones. Every single time they went out there, it was like, fuck, this is probably the game. For better or for worse, this will be the game, right? Well, obviously, such is life with a closer. But with these three guys, man, it was just... And then I think Fernando Rodney ended up going on to, like, Tampa Bay and had, like, didn't he have, like, a 60-save season? Maybe it was probably, like, 40 or something. He might have gotten 50. Might have been a damn 100. I remember it pissing me off. And then Mike Ilitch loved spending money, but they would never spend it on a closer. Love spending money. And then Chris Ilitch comes in here, man. That $250 million to Chris Ilitch, respectfully, brother, is like if you had $20 and I asked for 75 cents. You know what I mean? I don't even think it would probably be like 15 cents, honestly. That's what it's like to him. You're still going to have $600 billion anyways. What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? And I don't want to do the whole salary cap and salary floor thing. Honestly, I gotta say this. Gotta say it. If Skubal goes to the Dodgers, and then the thing that everybody's been bitching about, which is what I'm talking about here, the thing that everybody's been mad about for the last few years since the Dodgers have... Basically, the first domino for this new evil era of the Dodgers was what? When the Sox wanted to... We were talking about David Price. Weren't they trying to dump David Price's contract, and they had to attach Mookie to do it? However, the Dodgers ended up with Mookie in whatever roundabout horseshit way it was, which is shocking at the time. That was when they started to be like, what if we just got all of the MVPs, like their damn Infinity Stones? And then what if we made Japan our farm team, the whole country, because they have like first like veto rights on anybody so they get to decide first if they want a guy coming from Japan. What the fuck ever. I think that all that stuff is funny. Is the thing. Everybody's been mad about it for so many years. It's always been funny to me. I'm like, wow, they're just it's not cheating. They just... Because that's just kind of baseball. Like, they're just allowed to do this shit. Like, whatever. There's no rules financially. There's no fucking rules. It doesn't matter. There's no floor and there's no cap. They can do whatever they want, right? They can defer. It's like $1.5 billion that they have in deferred. I don't think it's that high, but it's at least Shohei's got 680 deferred on the book. So that's a huge chunk of it right there. They have to have at least $1 billion in deferred money right now. And they can, because they're the Dodgers and they're a forever brand. It's like they're a timeless brand. It's the Lakers, it's the Yankees, it's Real Madrid, it's Barcelona, it's Manchester United. Like, these brands they're just iconic, and they're always gonna make money. So like, they can be like, yeah, in 2050, Tarik Skubal, we're gonna give you $1 billion. Fuck it, we'll probably be good for it by that point, and I'm just gonna have to be like, shit, well, that stinks that I've been the one who's like, nah, who cares, this is funny. And then it happens to you. And then you kind of just have to eat it. I don't know if first of all, I'm not going to think this shit's cute anymore. Dave Roberts, the Dodgers go to the World Series, and Dave Roberts, after the game, just the other night, he's like, they said that the Dodgers ruined baseball. He's like, well, let's win 4 more games, meaning the World Series, and let's really ruin baseball. Shit. That's awesome. That's so funny. That self-awareness is that's just hilarious. Damn it. Now, I still like them. It's the thing right now. I'm still not in like I hate them. I just think they're funny. The fact that they have all of these guys, and it's just kind of like them getting Blake Snell last winter was like the biggest middle finger in the world. You guys don't even need him. You guys didn't. They probably gave him like, how much? Well, wasn't he coming off an injury? Maybe they didn't give him that much. I don't remember. Him going to San Francisco, I thought was weird in the first place. And what was that? Wasn't it only like was he there for just 1 year? Did he have like a player option or something? Whatever. Okay. Well, he might go there. Meaning Tarik Skubal. Maybe he'll go to the Dodgers. They'll give him $1 bazillion. And I just do it's not cap circumvention, but like, give Tarik Skubal, it's the damn Illiches. Like, give him a stock. Give him Little Caesars stock. Give him 10% of the company. 10%. There's no way they have enough equity to give away 10% still. Well, no, they wouldn't have the Illiches. They're in pizza, right? That's Illiches. They made Little Caesars. I don't want to think too hard about this because I know that I'm right. And if I start thinking about it too hard, I don't think I'm going to be right. So the Fords are, well, it's Ford. And then the Illiches, that's Mike Ilitch made Little Caesars. Yeah, yeah, obviously, because Little Caesars Arena. Don't think too hard about it, dude. Tom Gores does Securus, which is telecommunications, and then he like overcharges for like criminals for inmates. Sorry, I should say criminals. Oh, I did it again. Tom Gores in the past has overcharged inmates for just like making calls or something. I don't remember what that whole scandal was. People were very, very mad about that. And then he's like, I didn't know about it. And everybody's like, oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. And okay, must be that. Okay. What owner am I forgetting? None, because I forgot the Illiches own 2 teams. So nope, that's it. Got all. Don't know why I just did all that. Didn't have to do all that. Didn't have to do oral history of all that. What else is going on? Hey, did you guys see the other night? We're talking about the Dodgers. They're calling it the greatest performance first of all, in the history of baseball, but maybe in the history of sports ever, period. You see this, you hear about this. There's no way you didn't. Let me read this to you, okay? Only 12 hitters have ever had 3 home runs in a single postseason game. Only 26 pitchers have ever recorded 10-plus strikeouts and let up two or fewer hits and no runs in a postseason start. Shohei Ohtani just did both in the same game. Dude, he threw 6 innings and struck out 10 and hit more home runs than he allowed hits as a hitter. He hit 3 home runs and as a pitcher only let up 2 hits and had 10 strikeouts. Dog, the 3 home runs that he hit, it's not even like they were just like, oh, like it was a home run. They were nukes. They were bombs. Do you remember at the start of the season? We probably even did it on this show, by the way, where we were like, maybe with how good he was last year, like inventing the 50-50 club, right? Is that what it was? Was it 40? Yeah, he did 40-40 and then he got to 50-50, right? Okay, right. People were like, maybe he should just focus on that because if he keeps pitching, like, nope, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. He struck out the side in the first inning. And then I think by the time he had, what was the stat here? I don't remember what it was. I'm not going to. Are you kidding me with this? Are you kidding me with this? There's not even like an equivalent. It's doing a lot of baseball up at the top here, man. But there's not even like Travis Hunter would have to have in a playoff game 3 interceptions. One of them has to be a pick 6 at least. And then, like 250 yards receiving and, 2 touchdowns through the air. Like I don't know what it would be, but like that's a good guy to hockey, you just can't do it. You really can't do it because you're just so involved on both ends of the ice no matter what that's just part of the game, Basketball, I think, is also kind of the same. There's just not really like if you want a good equivalent, probably like LeBron, just throw a dart at a board in the 2016 finals. Throw a dart at a board. Probably one of those games would be the equivalent. Maybe the game, what was it, 2009, when he had like 30 unanswered points and scored like 100 against Detroit and shot like 73% from the field on the game for the whole game. I don't know defensively how many steals, how many blocks. Probably like 5 each. I don't know. There's probably a lot of LeBron games that but again, you're just so involved in basketball on both ends of the floor. I just don't really think that counts. Like Patrick Mahomes would have. I'm not even going to keep trying to make equivalents. This isn't. I just think that's the fucking best guy that has ever played a sport ever. Like baseball players. Yeah. I don't think there's been a conversation about that since before he even got to the Dodgers. I mean, the shit that he was doing with the Angels, like, it's crazy that, like, he's already been in the league. Is this, like, year 6 for him? Year 7 for him? I can't believe he's just, like, been doing this for so long, and it's still fucking awesome. It's still awesome when he does shit like this. I say when he does shit like this, nobody's ever done this before. And when he came over to the United States, and there was this whole, like, courtship of, like, oh, my God, where's he going to go? Everybody's gassing up this guy. It was just so exciting. Everybody was doing the Babe Ruth thing. Like, whoa, we're going to get to see a guy like really hit, like really pitch. And then just like immediately was like doing shit like this where he would strike out 6 and then hit like a 470-foot bomb in like a, in a 3-inning span. You're like, holy shit, this guy's awesome. But the Angels just stunk. They just stunk. And he did what Mike Trout just like he just never did, which was be like, yeah, this is actually never going to happen. This fucking sucks. And I'm just going to go to the team that, is just talking earlier about amassing all of the MVPs like Infinity Stones. Well, guess what? I'm one of those. I'm the Power Stone, son. I just love him. I love him, and I love him because I'm starting to feel crazy that I believe that he didn't gamble. Just because it's one of those things that we would normally just be obsessed over on this show, But I'm just like. Everybody thinks that he like funneled this gambling scandal like through his former interpreter, Ipe Mizuhara. And I'm like, yeah, but unless they also got like the lawyers and the courts in on it and the judge and like, maybe they did. I don't know. It's the Dodgers, bro. They have infinite money. I just think like all of the stuff that's come out in court like seems to indicate a guy that, I don't know, he knew for like his whole life and he trusted with his assets, and then as this kind of goes with athletes sometimes, like guys go rogue and they start doing fucked up shit to people that they care about. And it just kind of seems like Ipe Mizuhara got in pretty deep. And he was like, I don't know, like there's like receipts, like, or not receipts, but like there's purchase history where like he was buying like baseball cards and shit. So like he was trying to go like liquid with the shits. I don't know. I just, it's not inconceivable that the whole thing was, it was framed this way. And maybe they did get into some, I don't know. I just think that Shohei actually didn't do this. I just think something fucked up happened to him. But just to be transparent here, if I did believe this, or rather, well, this is not, I was going to say this as if it's like good clarity or something. I was going to say, if I believed this, I would tell you. No shit, Sherlock. I would fucking, no, but I would be so on the nose about it. Like, I think I would be saying this same shit, but I would be doing it in like no, I actually believe this. I don't think he did it. But I feel crazy that I don't because everybody fucking else does. And I got to tell you something. I'm officially, I really think I've been like a frontlines guy when it came to, hey, Shohei speaks English and he's fucking lying and he needs to get over it and suck it up and speak English, but not in like, not in the super abrasive way that I sort of just framed it. I've not really been like that. A little, it kind of does piss me off a little bit because I'm like, you obviously speak English. I'm stepping off. I give up on that fight actually. Because I'm starting to see who else is starting to, the same way that I just said it, I'm starting to see who's also saying it that way, and they mean it in the sort of, and so I'm stepping off of that because I also believe this, and I had not considered this before. Yes, Shohei Ohtani does speak English, but he speaks in Japanese and uses his interpreter so that he is speaking Japanese, and people who are watching him back in Japan get to hear him speak in, his native language. They get to hear him speak in I almost said Spanish. Shohei Ohtani speaking Spanish, my head would fucking explode. And then the interpreter is for us. That's for what? No, I don't mean, man explains. No, guys, so he's going to speak in a different language, and then the interpreter is there for you because you don't speak, and he's going to tell you what he says. No, I know. But I mean that very literally. The interpreter is for us, and Shohei is doing it because, like, he could do it, but I also do think there's the piece of it. I'm not trying to, I was really debating on even talking about this because there's no way for me to do this where it almost just sounds like man discovers empathy, where it's like, oh, well, maybe somebody who their first language isn't English, like, would be a little bit more apprehensive of doing it, especially in hectic post-game environments where you're just kind of asked questions, off the cuff, and there's a lot of adrenaline, and it's hard to react. And so I'm sure it would be nice to have somebody sitting next to you where they could, sort of, not dumb things down, but maybe, for lack of better phrasing, and just give you, what you need to hear, and in a way that is easier to digest. Yeah, no, all that shit makes complete sense. No, I get it. I just thought he was being an asshole, and he should have spoke English because he can. But now I understand, and I do see the nuance and the layers to it. And I was, in some ways, being a little bit rude. I still believe all of it, and I still believe
that there may have been something going on between Shohei and Ippei Mizuhara, but it was more like I just can't believe that guy called his bank.
That part of it too. Like, I don't know, there are phone records that show like Ippei Mizuhara called Shohei Ohtani's bank and was like, "This is Shohei Ohtani. This is me for real." And then I don't know if maybe, well, they wouldn't know Shohei's voice. So the joke I was gonna make, I don't need to be crude for no reason. I don't need to make a mean joke just to make a mean joke. But we all know what I was about to say. I don't know that you would go those. Would you go those lengths to bribe the courts on behalf of Shohei Ohtani? I don't think. Well, they would. I was gonna say I don't think people would care. To be honest with you, I really don't think they would. The average person. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? They wouldn't care if what? If Shohei Ohtani was caught gambling with, well, no, not if it wasn't on baseball, then no, who gives a shit? If he's a degenerate gambler and he just stinks and he just eats his losses, and then his losses were so bad and so flagrantly obvious that how did this happen? How did this get flagged? How did this come out? This was like such a key piece of how I don't want to reopen all this because I'm really starting to lose myself with this whole thing, and I think I just need to move on to something else. So let's do it. Shohei Ohtani, the best baseball player that's ever fucking lived, that has ever lived, and had the single greatest performance in the history of the sport, and then again potentially in North American sports or any other sport otherwise. Like Lewandowski, his 5 goals in 9 minutes, sick, super cool, but he didn't have like 10 slide tackles and like, you know what I mean? Like he didn't. the keeper didn't die and he had to step in and like stop 2 penalties in that same 9 minutes. You know what I mean? Like that didn't happen. So off the dome, greatest performances. This is number 1, but the greatest performances that I've ever seen in my life. Well, we talked about LeBron in 2016. Which one specifically? Was it Game 6? Was that the 41 and 41 from LeBron and Kyrie? Was that Game 6? Yeah, if I can't just say the whole series from LeBron, then I would say that one from him. And then, but also a little hat tip to Kyrie there. But the totality of that, because it was just, remember when Nike they released the sneakers from that series, like Nike did a whole release. And it was like, there was like the Game 3 drop, and there was like how did this work? I don't want to get in. I clearly don't remember, but Nike did a really cool job, like immortalizing the sneakers from that finals. What else would there be? This is not a good example to follow that up with, especially because I don't have the numbers in front of me. Felix Hernandez's perfect game was one of my favorites ever, because of course it's cool when like Dallas Braden has like a Mother's Day perfect game, and it's like, wow, this fucking guy had a perfect game. Or like, didn't Philip Umber have a perfect game for the White Sox? I'm not going to look that up because I'm pretty sure that's true. Philip Umber had a perfect game for the White Sox. Or was that Burley? Or did he have a no-hitter? He threw something. Maybe it was Burley, perfect game, Philip Umber, no-hitter. It was something like that, though. Those are cool, but like when one of the best to ever do it, like Felix Hernandez was, like his nickname was literally the King, bro. When he gets to be immortalized in that way, a pitcher that I think otherwise it would be easy for people who don't live in the Pacific Northwest or who just otherwise love baseball to kind of forget about him a little bit, just because he played for the Mariners forever. And that's a team that didn't have a ton of success there, despite him being so supremely successful as a pitcher, right? And so I think it's cool that no matter what, you cannot forget about him because he did go perfect, right? What else would there be? I don't know. Because all the only ones I can think of, like outside of the perfect game one, is like, it's just basketball. Like Giannis is coming to mind, like the finals when he had 50. Oh, right. And then he went to Chick-fil-A the next day. Well, I haven't thought about this in a while. When Giannis went to Chick-fil-A not immediately after, the day after winning the finals. And he was like, I won 50 McMinis and a Sprite with lemonade. And I was like, ooh, Sprite with lemonade. I was like, I'll have to try that. An America collective was like, wow, Sprite with lemonade. I have to try that. It's pretty good. 50 McMinis. So funny the way he says that. And then the Chick-fil-A worker, she was so funny. He said something about, he's like, I'm live right now. And he's like ringing the bell. He wasn't actually doing that. And the realization she clearly had no idea who he was. And the realization that there was like 1 million people watching is very, very funny. Him in the finals, that would be up there. And then if you could, but like if Giannis had 50 in the finals, and then was it the game right before that he had the block on DeAndre Ayton? Did the block and the lob happen in the same game? Jesus, could you imagine if it did? No way it did, right? I think those might have been 2 different games. I think those were endings to the 2 games that were played in Phoenix, right? Because I'm thinking of Drew Holiday just ripping the ball out of Devin Booker's arms. Or was it Chris Paul? No, it was Devin Booker. Drew Holiday rips it out of Book's arms. And then they start running the floor. Dog, I think we all felt this when that lob went up. You're like, why are you fucking lobbing this? And then it got thrown down, and it was just like, I have my hand over my mouth. I mean, it's just complete, like your brain you just start short-circuiting. It's fucking crazy. I don't think the DeAndre Ayton block was in that same game, too. If all of those sequences that I'm talking about here happened in the game where he was at Game 6, when he bucks in 6, when he has 50 and the Bucks win the finals, maybe that would be close to what Shohei did. Maybe that would be close. I'm trying to think of like football ones, because there are going to be some real obvious like bangers that just aren't coming to me right now. NFL, this just isn't working, because like what comes to mind is like when Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes played in college, and they each had like 600 yards passing. I'm not counting that. I'm recognizing it. I'm like, respect, but like, no, that doesn't belong in here. The famous screenshot of like Randy Moss with like 3 catches, 187 yards, and 3 touchdowns. after like a quarter. Yeah, I guess. But no, that's not. I mean, it's just, what am I doing here? Am I trying to compare greatest performances? Like, because every time I'm just going to keep like, but nothing's better than what Shohei just did. You know what I mean? I don't want to just keep fucking saying that. So what's the segment? I'm just like, remember when this happened? Oh, and then when this happened? Now, come on, bro. Try to think of one that rivals it. I can't. I won't. All right, well then that's that then. That's the segment. Then I guess there's nothing then. Speaking of NBA though, I guess we could stay on this. The season's about to start. I had no idea. Did you know preseason was happening? I had no idea, dude. I mean, it's not true. I did know because maybe like 2 weeks ago was the first time that I saw this happen, and I've seen it happen a few times since. What the fuck is going on with Victor Wembanyama? Why is he doing this? When he's yamming, he's doing like the Shaq high knees thing. Thinking, well, Nick, why are you mad about this? I'm not. I'm scared of it. Why is he doing this? Because, like, these clips I'm seeing from preseason, haven't bothered watching a full game. Don't care. It's preseason. Will not do it. But the clips I'm seeing from Wembanyama on these drives, and he's getting these high knees up there. No shot, dude. No shot. Windhorse talking about how, like, he's almost 7'7" now. Okay. Experimental gene therapy, folks. Experimental gene therapy and adrenochrome, I think is what happened in China. He was not living in a monastery. He was not hanging out with monks, going totally zen. I believe he was getting sick, fucked up, and nasty with Kevin Garnett and Hakeem Olajuwon, and like was learning some really like hateful shit from them. I believe that happened, and when that side of Victor Wembanyama comes out, I will be very excited. Gonna be excited to see what he does. You know, when he starts mixing it up, because he's kind of just gonna be like a claw machine. I feel like he could just like pick somebody up and like kind of like twist there. Like if you saw, I'd like to imagine anybody at this point who wanted to see 28 Years Later has seen the movie by now. Very brief spoiler. You can plug your ears for just a second. Samson, you know, the big guy in that movie, the big alpha zombie with the huge wiener. He would just like pick dudes up with one hand and just kind of like rip their spine out. I'm imagining Victor Wembanyama with all of this testosterone and adrenochrome and again, this whatever experimental genes they put into his body. I imagine he can kind of claw machine like Wilt from Foster's Home from Imaginary Friends and just sort of twist somebody if he wanted to. Where was I going with this? Victor Wembanyama now doing high knees when he's yamming down. I'm worried that, I don't want to manifest this, I'm worried he's going to yank down the stanchion and fucking die. Is what stresses me out when he does it because he's too big. I guess he doesn't, what is he, like 230? No way he's more than that. Let's Google that. Let's ask Siri. Hey, Siri, how much does Victor Wembanyama weigh? 230? Victor Wembanyama 236. Yeah, 236 pounds. And that's probably over, too. That's probably over. Like, did you guys see the Hornets just got all their measurements done? Like, LaMelo was like, they were like, you dog, you're not 6'7". I don't remember what they listed him as. Maybe like 6'5". The funniest one was Colin Sexton, who, when he came into the NBA at the Combine, they were like, you're like 6'1", and everybody was like, that's not true. And then eventually he was listed at 6'3", and now he's officially like fucking 6 foot, maybe like 5'11". I don't remember what it was. I don't know if they were counting his hair earlier, or if it's just kind of like such is life, like par for the course. That's just kind of what you get. In the NBA, you get an extra like 4 or 5 inches. What else was there? I saw this. Pretty crazy. Oh shoot, what was the headline on this? The Bucks haven't re-signed a draft pick since like 2013 or 2013. So they let go of this kid, Tyler Smith. This is the history of their first round draft picks. AJ Johnson. I'm fucking this up already. I'm sorry. I'm getting myself confused because the way I prepared this to read this to you makes no goddamn sense at all. I'm so sorry. So I'm trying to figure this out. So I think what this is here, I think what it was that the Bucks have not, let me just take that one from the top. The Bucks haven't re-signed a first round pick to a second contract since they drafted Giannis. Okay? So let's go back in time with their first round picks to see like what happened to them because they just waived Tyler Smith. So in 2024, AJ Johnson got traded to Washington and Tyler Smith just got waived. That's their picks from a year ago. The pick in 2023, Chris Livingston waived after 2 years, didn't get a second contract. 2022, Marjon Beauchamp traded after 2.5 years to the Clippers. He actually just got waived too, I'm pretty sure. Pistons fans were like, hey, what do you think about this guy? Nope. No. 2021, they drafted Isaiah Todd, and then he got traded on draft night. 2020, RJ Hampton also traded on draft night, and Jordan Nwora ended up in Indiana like 2 years later. These guys aren't getting second contracts. This is crazy. Wait a minute. Is Sam Merrill in here? They didn't say anything about Sam Merrill. No, they didn't. Well, hold on. Do I have to do a little bit of investigating here? They said Jordan Nwora. Was Sam Merrill? Oh, was he undrafted? Is that what it was? Maybe it doesn't count. Or is this first round picks or is this just second? I didn't prepare. I thought I had this. You know what? You see, I'm reading this to you, so clearly I got it in front of me. But I summarized this in my own way that is not digestible at all. And I don't know how to read this. I'm going to keep going. In 2019, they drafted Kevin Porter Jr., and he got traded twice that night. And, well, now he's, with Milwaukee. But he didn't get a second Well, but that one does then wait a minute. That one doesn't count either. The guy who did this original research, I think, may have been an idiot. I'm poking holes in this. Unless Sam Merrill was undrafted, which I think he may have been. I think he might have been the 60th pick in the draft, though. I think I might be right about that. But he may have been undrafted. But I don't think he was. He might have been. 2018, they drafted Dante. He got traded right on the cusp. 4 years, and he got traded for damn Serge Ibaka. I was like, what? And I was like, huh. 2017, DJ Wilson. Bitch. Hated that guy. He got traded after 4 years for PJ Tucker. Thon Maker. This is, okay, we're almost done. Thon Maker, yeah, he got traded. I don't need to explain to you how these guys got moved. Thon Maker, Rashad Vaughn, and Jabari Parker. All of these guys, Johnny O'Brien, all of these guys left Milwaukee without getting a second contract. The last guy to get drafted by Milwaukee to get a second contract was Giannis Antetokounmpo. That was 12 damn years ago. That's wild. That's wild. Because that says something interesting, which is like, that doesn't mean that you're bad at drafting because the Bucks have been good and they've gotten use out of some of those guys. Like Jordan Nwora eventually was like, well, I don't know that it was necessarily because he was good as much as it was maybe necessity when he really started to play in games. Sam Merrill needed to go to Cleveland in order to like be a guy. He just wasn't. That wasn't going to happen in Milwaukee. Those aren't bad picks. Like Sam Merrill definitely ended up being the better pick, but so what's the point here? DJ Wilson, the guy stunk. Hated that guy. There was another one in here. Marjon Beauchamp, yeah, but he was fun for like 2 games and then he ended up stinking. Well, Dante, of course, is the example here of a guy that just absolutely worked. So I don't know if they draft well enough that like the guys that end up on the team, whether it's late first round or second round guys, or Sam Merrill, potentially undrafted guy, but I think maybe the 60th pick in the draft. They're good enough for what you got going and you can skate by with them, but they're expendable. So by the time that it's like, okay, we might have to pay this guy. Well, they're good enough that other teams are going to want them and we'll get some interesting shit in return. Like, Serge Ibaka for Dante DiVincenzo. Who fucking wouldn't do that after 4 years of service? Are you kidding me? If you're the Milwaukee Bucks in 2022 and you have the chance to trade for Serge Ibaka and all you have to do is give up Dante DiVincenzo, you have to do it. It's 2022. What would I not do with Serge Ibaka? You know what I mean? You have to do it. DJ Wilson traded for PJ Tucker. How did that work? How did that work? Pretty well. Thon Maker, how did he end up in... I'm thinking of Bol. I was thinking of the Bol thing when that trade got nixed. Because he failed his medical. I don't remember what it was. It was his back, maybe, perhaps. I don't know. He should get on the horn with Victor Wembanyama's people and get that adrenochrome. whatever he has going on. What's Bull? I don't talk about a guy that I never gave a shit about. And the world and the media tries to force a guy on you just because he's so big, and these stan accounts on Twitter, they take on a life of their own, these personalities. And the amount of people on Twitter who tried to make Bull happen, it's like the people who tried to make Thon Maker happen. Like the only way that a guy who is as big as the aforementioned guys, or who we're about to mention, Victor Wembanyama, the only way that guy works the way that people thought the aforementioned ones would is if they're just fucking doing it immediately. Well, hold on, because Thon Maker, to be fair, did, like, his mixtape shit was actually for real crazy, to be fair. It was. That's true. It's not fiction. It's not made up. The Victor Wembanyama stuff, yeah, I guess he was just kind of big. He was just big. Zion was probably the most, if you talk like a high school mixtape, well, John Wall, but if I think like more recent, Zion, it was at Spartanburg, South Carolina. Jesus, brother. Some of the Lonzo actually had a pretty famous one even before the Ball brothers were like, there's the super famous clip of him at Chino Hills, like crossing a dude up and then helping him up. That clip was huge before anybody knew who the Ball brothers were. And then it was when LaMelo had 92 at Chino Hills was when they all kind of exploded onto the scene, right? But that clip was famous. The same way that there's a very, very famous clip of Lamar Jackson in high school. He's like running to the end zone and he just does like the stop right at the 1 yard line. He's like has the corner and he has one guy to beat and the guy just flies past him and he just kind of like does like a little strut or whatever into the end zone. So famous. That clip was so famous, right? Because it was like big when I was in high school, right? We were like, whoa! And then that guy ended up being fucking Lamar Jackson. When I found that out years ago at this point, lost my mind. Not to be like, if you really know ball. No, not everybody's going to know, like mixtapes or like high school football clips or anything like that. But like, if you know what I'm talking about with either of those clips, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The being the Lonzo one or the Lamar one. Where was I going with this? I don't even remember. Were we still talking about, sorry, I felt like I strayed completely. I don't remember what I was. Oh, were we still talking about Victor Wembanyama? Oh, we were talking about mixtapes, right? Yeah, if you're going to be that good, I just feel like you're going to do it immediately. Whereas like Bull, it was like, oh, this guy's a project. It's like, well, what am I even talking about? Because that's not true. Like Giannis, it took him a couple of years, and he was kind of the same. No, it's not the same, Nick. It's not the same. It's not the same guy. It's not the same fucking guy. And even when he was a little, like, like more like a skinny fucking stick figure, when Giannis was that way, when he got in the league, even then it was not the same as what Thon was when he came into the league or what Bull was. It's not sort of what Victor Wembanyama was / is. It's not the same thing. It's a false equivalency. Don't do that shit. A lot of people big on Milwaukee this year too. I am learning. And I don't know, was it like 2 weeks ago? Shams kind of threw a little, what? Huh? What? One of those out there. I guess there was like a 2-week window where the Knicks had exclusive negotiating rights with Milwaukee to try to facilitate a trade for Giannis. Huh? What? John Horst, just out of the kindness of his heart, was like, hey, Leon Rose, tough exit last year against those Pacers. Tough season. You in the market for Giannis Antetokounmpo? If Leon Rose rubbing his eyes like a goddamn Looney Tunes character. Are you kidding me? Huh? Now, I assume, maybe I missed this, this only would have happened if Giannis was like, yeah, I'd go to the Knicks. Okay, all right, fine. Well, let's just assume that's true because I'm sure that language was in there and maybe I just missed it, right? Because this otherwise would not happen. It would not. I don't want that to happen because I think that sucks for Milwaukee. I think that stinks for Milwaukee the same way that it would stink if he went to the Spurs. I just think that the fans get sold in that scenario. Let me pull up the Knicks roster really quick. Like let's do this. Cause like cause what's the point that I'm making here? Well, like if it's San Antonio, oh, I'm Milwaukee and I get fucking Stephon Castle. Wow. Oh my God. And I get Jeremy Sohan. Dude, thanks. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's so cool. If it's the Knicks, you're not getting Brunson. I just don't think you're getting Cat. You're gonna get one of like OG, Mikal Bridges, Deuce McBride? Like, you want Josh Hart? Did I say Josh Hart yet? Like, what? But then what's the core of is Miles Turner? That's going to be I just don't know that. Nah. And I also don't think that this is going to be because look, I think it's going to fucking happen. I think Shams just kind of like be saying shit all the time and like poking the bear. I don't know that he necessarily lies, but sometimes it feels like it. I don't think he is here, just, to be fair. He's not. It'd be a fucking insane thing for him to be like, oh yeah, the Knicks had 2 weeks to make a deal and they didn't happen. You wouldn't lie about that. But it is interesting just on the whole misinformation thing, because there was a report that came out that like Giannis, his like family was moving to Greece without him. They were like moving back home and they were like, oh, we don't want to be in the United States anymore. Do I have this right? Giannis like came out and publicly, it was like on his Instagram story or something. It was like, this is bullshit. I need 50 Mac minis. And my family, he was, don't talk about my fucking family and blah, blah, blah. And this is fake news and blah, 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 blah. Well, he was refuting all of that at the exact same time that it was like, yeah, the fracturing synonyms relationship happening and unfolding, continuing to unfold in Milwaukee. And this Knicks thing and blah, 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 blah. Giannis didn't have anything to say about that. So it's like, okay, all right, this is going to happen. Fine. I just hope it doesn't happen in the middle of the season. And I hope it's not San Antonio. Hope it's not them. That would stink. And I don't want to do this. I don't want to say it. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there are feeling this way too. I hate that it is looking increasingly more and more likely that we will have to look at Nico Harrison and say, I don't know what we're going to say to him. It's not going to be, I'm sorry, and it's not going to be, we were wrong. It's not going to be that. You know what I mean? It's not going to be that. Fuck that guy. But it's going to have to be something, because I just think the Mavs are going to be kind of awesome. In the preseason, what was it, like a week ago at this point? They rolled out, who was it? It was Cooper Flag at the 1, Klay Thompson at the 2, PJ Washington at the 3, Lively 4, AD 5, or maybe the 4 and 5 switch. Woo! Ooh! Cool! What the fuck? Huh? That's so cool. That's such a fun lineup. That's so fun. I don't know. I just think it really feels terrible that they have a decent team and they extended PJ Washington, and it's like, okay, well, okay. Kyrie will be back at some point this season. He's not that far off, I don't think. Like, isn't it by January he should be? It doesn't matter. He'll be back, and you imagine the Mavericks will be competitive by the time he comes back. They'll be in a good spot, and I just think it stinks. I'm not happy for Mavs fans either. Like, I think this is fucked up that this is happening for real, because you're just going to get tricked and then some dumb shit is going to happen again. Maybe it wasn't PJ Washington that got extended. Maybe it was just Jason Kidd that I was thinking of, but somebody just got extended. Definitely Jason Kidd just got extended. The further we are removed, here's a piece of commentary. The further removed we get from the Luka shit, I don't know, man. I've at first, and up until very recently, was team, I don't think Jason Kidd knew. And I think he was pissed. I'm not so sure. I mean, unless he is truly just the best soldier of all time and ate this and was like, fuck, like, whatever, Cooper Flag, like, clean slate, like, whatever. I don't know. I took his initial, despondent demeanor. It's the only way to describe it. At the press conference immediately following this, the next day, less than 24 hours after this trade was made, Jason Kidd was a fucking ghost, bro. Like, guy couldn't even speak. I took that as he was blindsided. I am now looking back on it thinking, did you know? And were you just like, fuck, this is bad? People are so mad at us. Did they miscalculate? I don't know. No, I don't think they did. I think they knew how bad it was going to be, and I don't fucking know. I don't think they cared. I don't know. Or did he not know? And again, he was just like, whatever, Cooper Flag, like, this is kind of sick, and whatever, we do have a good team, and so it's bullshit. But I don't know. I'm no longer completely positive that he did not have nothing to do with the Luka thing. And so just by nature, anybody that's sort of attached to it, you just don't want them to succeed. And that's the sentiment here. I Mavs fans might be like, well, we went through something horrible and shitty that, is like the biggest, it like established itself as a completely new nightmare that we couldn't even conceive of before. Like, oh, this can happen? Fuck yeah, it can, brother. Those same fans are supposed to hear from me like, fuck us, like we're not supposed to be happy. Like, fuck you. Not like this. No, I don't think you should. Because again, I just think something, may be happy. Go root for the team. Go buy tickets. Go sell out the stadium. The Mavericks were number 1 in the league in attendance last year before the Luka trade happened. You know where they finished? Actually, it wasn't bad. I think it was still like top 6 maybe. So, okay, wasn't actually that bad at all, but I don't know. Hostile crowds, ? Fire Nico, like, is still a thing. Like, to be fair to the fans that I'm talking about right now, yeah, like, they're falling for it again, and they're, like, trying to get over, like, the worst heartbreak they've ever experienced in their life. And maybe they're not, maybe I'm being too harsh, and it's not that they're tricking themselves. They are just more emotionally mature than me, and they're able to get over it, and that's all that matters, right? Those same fans, it's not like they're flipping on Nico. They still fucking hate that guy. So it's like, that's really all you can ask for. They still want him fired just because the team's good. Because I'm sort of just calling myself out, I guess, for just like fucking getting mad at nobody, right? Or like defending myself from shit that isn't even real. Because the truth is that even those same Mavs fans who were the most heartbroken that you could possibly be will acknowledge that like Nico Harrison did not do anything good to get them this pick. I am team, since I'm taking sides today and, on matters that I think are controversial or otherwise, we've established, I think it's okay that Shohei Ohtani uses an interpreter, and I understand why now. We've established, in my heart of hearts, I do not believe he was gambling. I don't believe that he was. Let's establish a third thing right here. It's not rigged. I am team, it's not rigged. This one wasn't. I don't think it was. I just think it's a thing that happens, and it's a reality that can happen because there are lottery balls and because there are probabilities and there are these super, complicated algorithms. And I just think, like, in a lot of ways, I don't blame people because conspiracy is so on the nose these days. Where like 20 years ago, it was like, you think two planes just flew into buildings, and one into the Pentagon and one into a field, and it was terrorists, and that's it? Like, you're fucking crazy. It was sort of like, I don't want to call it fringe thinking, but like it wasn't part of the everyday media apparatus. And now our culture is just sort of veiled in this blanket conspiracy, and, everything is just so on the nose. I think even Nick Mullen talked about this before, where he's like, everything is just so on the nose. Like, talk about 20 years ago, like you would say, like, yeah, man, the global elite of this world, it's like a pedophilic sex traffic ring, and all they do is have sex with kids. It's like folklore. And then it's like, well, yeah. And then it's real. And then it's, again, part of the everyday sort of media cycle. And that's just sort of like culturally, like the thing that we talk about that everybody knows is happening. And it's sort of, it's like literally like a core pillar of like the United States government at this point. So I don't blame people. Sorry, it's very wordy. We sort of got off the road a little bit there. Let's get back on the road. It's not surprising to me that, okay, of course, the team who does the dumbest fucking thing that any team has ever done in the history of sports would get rewarded with the first pick in the subsequent draft. It's so on the nose, it absolutely has to be the case. Yeah, it's impossible to like rationally explain why it can't be that way without acknowledging how fucking insane it is that it happened. It's insane. It's so insane that there's the only way that you can conceive of making it make sense is that somebody fucking cheated here. Because how did they get bailed out this way? But they did. Because that's like what the lottery just is. Like that's what, and you could make the argument, well, Nick, I can't believe the season is about to start. I'm like, let's talk about it again. Was the lottery rigged? Just because, again, I think this is going to go well for the Mavericks. I just think like, oh my God, Nick, because the season is about to start and like we're seeing like, whoa, Dallas, like, fuck, this might be real. It's just wild. It's hitting me that like, okay, like this is real. Like they actually got bailed out, and I don't know, we're kind of in a weird part of the Luka timeline where I'm kind of over seeing him in a Mavs uniform. Like, okay, I get that he's gone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like my brain makes the association. Yeah, he's not in a Mavs uniform anymore. But it is still a little jarring to see him in a Lakers uniform, for me at least. I don't know about you at home, but we're at a weird point in the timeline. By the All-Star break, we'll be over this. By then, we'll have enough games of this new Dallas team. And although I don't know, man, I remember I would still turn on Dallas games and be like, oh yeah, like where the fuck is Luka? But again, that was months ago, so they haven't played in months, and I haven't been watching the preseason, and so I guess I don't know. We're at a weird point in it though, and I just can't fucking believe that happened. So funny, dude. Emails today. I gotta tell you, maybe this is where we start to do like not serious stuff, but I just talk about the last like week and me not uploading when I was supposed to upload. I did actually tape a show the other day on Wednesday, and it was close to 2 hours long again, because I was like, it's just going to be the one episode this week. And so I did, if not 2 hours, it was pretty close to it, and it was really bad, and I was so offended by it, and I stayed up so late, like, raking through it and editing some stuff out, and partially I spent, I think, 45 minutes talking about Israel, and it just was, I wouldn't stop talking about it. And then the minute that I would start to move on, I would just go back to it. And I read so many emails. This is what I was going to say is the backbone of it was this backlog of emails that we had, in the week in change that we hadn't done a show. So many good emails that got sent in. I was just boom, firing. I think we did like 6 or 7 emails, seriously, right? And I didn't do any of them in this show because I can't do them again. Like, I can't like redo it. You know what I mean? Like, I read it and it exists on my hard drive, but I just couldn't get myself to like fake read them again. And so like we got travel advice from Bathroom Tom, and we had a guy email in about like he's got a new job making like triple the money, but he has to move to a major city with his his family and his young kid. And we talked about that, and guy sent in an email about his brother falling down the alt-right pipeline, but there was a little punchline in the middle of it where he was like, yeah, and my brother's starting to do like a I hate the Jews thing, but like we're a quarter Jewish. And I was like, you know what I mean? I can't and I hadn't read that, so I read that live, and you know what I mean? I can't redo that reaction. It wouldn't be authentic, but it made me laugh so damn hard the first time. And it was a really good email. I think I had a really good, digital sort of one-way mirror conversation with this guy where I thought about, like conceptually the alt-right pipeline, like, does it exist still? Because what it was 10, 15 years ago, right? When you think about, like blue-haired libs getting owned on campuses with facts and logic and shit like that, but 10, 15 years ago, but somewhere in there, sweet spot. It served to like shepherd you to ideas, whether like ideologically or otherwise, right? Like those served as a way, those were a vessel to get you into the, into a direction, and not acting as like, I don't know, counterculture. I was going to say not counterculture in the traditional sense. I guess in some ways it was, because that was when we started to shift to a more like, I don't know how to like do this without sounding like a fucking free speech Austin comedian, but like socially, I think America has started, like gay marriage had just become federally legalized. It was like, whoa. And so to like the Bible thumpers, they're like, this place is going, to woke hell and shit like that. Although 10 years ago, woke hadn't been co-opted by the right yet, or white people at all. That was still like, you know what I mean? That word had a completely different meaning 10 years ago. No, I don't know. Like that content existed in a more fringe way, and like I just wonder if when ideologically, like all of the shit that you and a lot of you and I would consider like the alt-right pipeline, like when so much of that is mainstream and when it's sort of staring you in the face in your everyday algorithm, even if you just fired up a new account tomorrow, like this is just kind of what like happens when certain, social apparatus are purchased by like, a guy like Elon Musk, we'll say, right? Your algorithm is going to change and the people who are on that site are going to change. And then also the bot farms that get purchased and like what their sort of like directive is and like what their intent there is, like it's going to change and it's going to get a lot more aggressive. And so I just wonder what happens to like the alt-right pipeline in 2025 if, again, all of that shit that you would be hearing or that you would otherwise be shepherded towards, again, is just kind of like the everyday, this is what the government's talking about, this is what the media is talking about. So I don't want to say, does it still exist? Well, I just think that, these indoctrination machines are, again, just sort of part of your everyday, like, that's how I've always viewed like Turning Point USA. Like that's always how I viewed that shit, even before, the last month and a half here in America, where now every college and every high school in America is like fucking opening up a Turning Point USA chapter. I always viewed them as like, as just indoctrination of like fucking white nationalism. And then, so now that to me in my brain has just been like turned up to 11. I have no idea if that's even true, but that's just always the way I viewed it. And now, especially when I don't give a shit about this at all, honestly. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? This group chat that got leaked. It was like, oh, these leaders of the young Republican Party saying a bunch of racist shit in a group chat. No fucking shit. Talking about I love Hitler in a group chat. Talking about gas chambers and saying the N-word. Yeah. Whoa. Surprised Pikachu.jpg. The fuck? Wow. Oh, a fucking, a staffer for like a congressman had like an American flag fucking swastika in his office. Oh my God. Holy shit. Call the fucking paramedics. Oh my God. Clear. Oh my God. Shut up. No fucking shit, dude. And where do you think those guys were on the internet 10 years ago? You know what I mean? And now like they're in the government for real. They're in the government for real. Like these 4chan fuckers are in the government. For real. Elon hired like a bunch of Indian kids to rip the wires out of the government for Doge at the beginning of the year. What the fuck was that? That was like 6 months ago. That wasn't that long ago. That wasn't that long ago. That was this year, bro. That was this year. Just like kids on the internet. What? That's the shit that I can't replicate, I guess. It's funny that I say I can't replicate it. Well, I kind of just did. I basically ended up just doing the exact same thing. So I'm sorry. Let me get back on the road there with where I was supposed to be going with all of that. I read so much of your guys' shit, and I'm sorry that I didn't in this one. And a lot of those emails are just going to fall through the cracks, and I think that really stinks, and I'm sorry. I also think it really stinks that I didn't say anything, that I said absolutely nothing. I always say, if there's an episode missing when you are otherwise expecting one, check the Moton Noah YouTube community tab, and I will have probably made a post. 99 times out of 100, I will have made a post saying, hey, give me another day, or like, we're just going to roll it to the next day. Like there's always something there, right? I did not do that. I didn't do that. All I said to you guys was that there should be 2 episodes last week. Now, maybe I shouldn't be taking this so seriously, but I want you to know I do think it stinks, and I apologize for it because I know that there are those of you out there who, use this show as like a way to get through a workout or a commute or whatever it is, however it is that you consume the show, right? And so when you're expecting that and it's not there, like I've experienced that with shows that I like, and it's really frustrating when there's been no communication on any scheduling issues. And I just want to hold myself accountable for that because I think it stinks that I didn't. Now, why didn't I? Why didn't I not post anything? Why did I not post anything about why I wasn't posting anything? Well, like I said, I did record the one episode and it just went so poorly and I was so upset about it that I was like, fuck this. I don't care. Not in like the way that I'm just like quitting it forever, like not doing this forever. I was like, I'm just, okay. I just scrapped it. And I was like, all right, it stinks, but I'll just do one on, Monday, which, I knew I was going to do this one. And I just kind of let the days go by because last week also sucked. I just wasn't doing great. Like I was fine, but I was doing something weird. I We came home from our trip from Michigan, and I've never been a guy who like just eats because he's anxious or something or feeling any type of way. Like eating has never been like a coping mechanism for me at all. It's been the exact opposite, where I just will go like 3 days and be like, oh fuck, I literally have not eaten for real. I just kept eating. I was like, what's going on with me? Like I keep eating. So that's kind of been something. I've been eating a lot of salami sandwich. Been eating a lot of those. Made some cinnamon toast the other day, like for no reason. Like I just keep eating, and I don't need to do that because especially now that we're getting into, it's getting colder outside. I'm going outside less, so like I don't need to start putting that shit on now. You know what I mean? They give it like 2 months, Nick. Wait until the end of the year, then you can put on your little whatever. No, I don't know. It's been in a really weird headspace, and I think coming home from Michigan, we spent like 4 or 5 days there. We were there for in total, like we were home for like 100-ish hours, give or take, right? And according to my Aura ring that I wear, I was stressed for like 60 of those hours. My resting heart rate was like 100. Like unless I was asleep, like I was around that. You know what I mean? Like there was every day there was fucking something that just kind of for no reason at all. Everything would be fine. We had so much fun. We did fun stuff while we were home, but I was just on edge for like all of it, and I didn't really know why. I didn't know what was going on. And we did go to the Michigan State UCLA game. Obviously, not going to talk about that game at all, or even the school, because fuck them. They're literally the worst team in college football. Jonathan Smith I was going to say he doesn't have a right to have a job. I should just say he doesn't deserve to have a job, not at the university. We really wish they would just eat the $30 million buyout. But again, I don't want to talk about that at all. Yeah, I went to the tailgate. It was fun. We brought Roman, our son, and I even got to meet 2 of you guys who listen to the show. Tommy, right? Tommy, and I met his girlfriend. Very, very nice people. Very, very kind. It's always, this is going to sound like I'm being patronizing, but anytime I've ever met any of you who listen to the show, my takeaway is always the same. I'm like, what a very, very nice person. And I mean this sort of as a compliment to myself, actually, because it just means that I harbor that audience. And I was like, see, okay, I am a nice guy, because they were such gentle people. They were very, very kind. Both of them were very, very nice people. And we just talked maybe like 15 minutes. I don't know how long it was, but about like some local bar stuff in East Lansing, and I don't know. I didn't ask them where they were from in Michigan, which I felt bad about because I was very curious to know that. But at the end, I said to them, okay, well, I'll let you guys go because I'll just probably start talking about Charlie Kirk in a minute and say some weird shit. So I'll let you guys go. And then I spent probably the next like 3 minutes saying some weird shit about Charlie Kirk. So they were very, very nice people. I was very thankful that I got to meet them. And, eventually we bring our son into the game, which was a bizarre feeling for me to be inside of that stadium, to be inside of Spartan Stadium. The first time I was ever in there was 2007. Is one of the most magical moments of my life. That was the first real like stadium that I had ever been in. And it was one of the most magical moments of my life. And so for 18 years later, almost to it was November of 2007, for 18 years later, to be walking into that stadium with my son, and we had him in an ergo, which for those who don't know, it's like a harness that you wear that like, you see parents like wearing their babies like a backpack, but like on the front, it's just one of those, right? And so I'm walking around with him in the stadium, and I did have a moment of like, holy shit, wow, you know what I mean? And then we took our seats, and 2 possessions later, I was back down in the concourse with my son, and I walked around with him for an hour, and trying to get him to fall asleep, and then he did. And then it was halftime, and Michigan State was down by 1,000, and I had been in the concourse for the entire game outside of 2 possessions. And we left. And we went home. So, Nick, Nick, you go for the record. How many beers did you drink? I didn't. No, I didn't. I think I had 1 drink at the tailgate. I did have 1 drink. I had one, Maddie and I split a drink, and then I had a Coors Light. So, okay, here you go. Nick, how many? Oh, Michigan State hot dogs. Those are your favorite hot dogs. How many did you get? None. 0. I didn't get any. Just didn't work. It's too bad. So we go home. Well, we beat the traffic, and we also weren't subject to the worst team in fucking college football, Michigan State. So okay, we go home, and otherwise it was great, man. We got to see everybody that we needed to see, and that was it. But by the time we came home, like, I think it was maybe some of it was just that I went back into the reality of like, oh right, I forgot, I fucking, when Maddie's gone all day at work, like I fucking have to do all of that. Like, fuck, I don't have anybody here to help me. You're gone for 4 days and you're around family and you're around people who want to help you. They want to help their grandson or their niece. I'm sorry, not their niece, their fucking nephew or whatever, right? Like, they want to help me. And so that takes a lot of pressure off of both Maddie and I. And then when we come home, I'm like, oh, fuck, right. Maddie's gone for 13 hours a day working. And when she comes home, I want to be able to give her, an hour or two of just like not having to do anything. So even if I've already put Roman to sleep, it's like, okay, I'll do, you just make dinner or do something. And then you just fucking never. And then it's 9 o'clock. That's it. It's your whole day. Then you fucking go to sleep. And then you're up this morning, Roman was up at 5:30 for no reason. For no reason at all. Did he need to be awake at 5:30? Did not go back to sleep until 11:30, bro. And luckily, Maddie was off today, so we were able to be there for each other. But yeah, I just think I think it was just hard. I just hate when she's gone for as long as she's gone, but she has to be gone for as long as she's gone. And she's just been like, I've been fine mostly. I don't know. There was just something that I kept kind of putting off doing the show, and then I finally did it for 2 hours, and it sucked. It was terrible. And that just murdered my confidence. And then I started to be like, I don't care. I don't know. So I apologize for that. Just kind of been I don't know, just weird. Just strange. I know a lot of it has definitely come from, I talked about my Aura Ring earlier. Look, I'm not batting 1,000 here with the medical information that I give out on this show. But I'm probably batting like an honest 385, which, if this is Major League Baseball, I'm in Cooperstown after 8 years of that. You know what I mean? That's no fucking, I could have 1,500 hits, but as long as I'm 385, fuck out of here. Put me in the hall, bro. For medical information, that's not bad. The last time I did medical information on the show, and it didn't go well, and I'm putting a hand up here. I don't have to call myself out for this, but I was really wrong about this. I said something about, like, we were talking about RFK and vaccines and him taking mercury out of vaccines. And I was like, oh, that sounds like it makes sense. And I was like, that's too bad if he did something smart. It's too bad if he does it. So I said something to the effect of that. And then you guys in the comments, you doctors out there, were like, oh, that has nothing to do with anything. And that's not that kind of mercury. And you're not fucking Isaac Newton every time you get a vaccine. I was like, oh, okay. And then even Maddie separately had brought it up to me because she works around nurses all day, and they were telling her something about how the chemistry of the vaccine, it's not real mercury. It's just sort of this. I don't remember how she explained it, but it made complete sense. So, okay. So it doesn't matter that there's not. Okay. I was wrong about that. No, there was not that much consequence to me being wrong about that. Luckily, right? I did get the COVID vaccine. I did get that. Sort of a societal necessity, though. I otherwise would have been shunned and would have been unable to be employed in either the states of Illinois or California. So I did get that. I never got boosted, though. And I've said this before, I got Johnson & Johnson, so I got the fake vaccine, but that was not intentional. I didn't get the fake vaccine on purpose. Honestly, at the time, I was super pissed about it. I wanted the good vaccine. I was really pissed off that I was getting the bad one. Because at the time, I was like, dude, I want this shit to be over. Give me the good one and let's wrap this up. You know what I mean? And then I was supposed to get Moderna, and then they ran out. And they were like, here's Johnson & Johnson. I was like, I don't have time to research this at all. And they're like, no. I don't need to say it. I got it early. I got the pre-order of the vaccine, and it was like the most elitist I've ever felt in my life. It felt amazing. Have I told that story on here before? I don't know if I can. Are we statute of limitations? This was like, it doesn't matter. I got that jab. Anyways, not here to do a medical misinformation thing. I know that this is not medical misinformation. I know that one of the reasons that I've been feeling so fucked up lately is because my sleep sucks. My sleep just has not been good. It's like 5 hours a night, right? I had a few good nights of sleep recently, but for like 2 weeks, right? It was just terrible. And I know I was talking to Maddie about this. So I'm sure a lot of you out there will know this. Like there are the 3 cycles the 3 cycles of sleep that you'll go through, 3 stages. There's light sleep, there's deep sleep, and there's REM sleep. So light sleep is when you're like asleep, but there's still a ton of brain activity and like your muscles are still like alive, right? And then once you go into deep sleep, that's like the most restorative period that you go through, right? And that's when your muscles are completely like you're a corpse and there's no activity. There's not no, but you know, the brain activity is at its lowest point. And then I think this is also, I remember if this is deep sleep or REM sleep, but this is the important part, right? I think this is deep sleep. So like when your brain is completely off and you're going through deep sleep, your spine is like releasing fluid onto your brain and essentially like putting your brain through the car wash, right? And like wiping off all the toxins and like going through all your little wrinkles and crevices and shit like that. That's what's happening when you're in deep sleep. Do I have that right? Am I close enough to being right about that? And then REM sleep is, you know, obviously this is the most famous one. The most fun one is rapid eye movement, is when your brain has a ton of activity. And this is when you're dreaming, shit like that, right? And your body's like ready to do like jazz and shit like that. Do it the jazz fingers and shit. Jazz hands is what I was trying to say there. That's what's happening in your brain, and you're, having dreams. Maybe that's when your brain's going through the car wash. I'm pretty sure it's deep sleep, though. And because of my Oura Ring, I can see when I'm going through all of these cycles and how much time I'm spending in each of them. And it was just all light sleep. It's basically all it is. And I get like 5 minutes of REM sleep a night and like 2 seconds of deep sleep. And then also I'm awake 15 times throughout the night because my son will wake up, and then it's a whole thing and blah, 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 blah. And sometimes he wakes up at 5:30. And so, hey, man. Just going through some stuff is all, but I'm good. We're good. Good. Show's back. What's up? Show's back. Show's back. Oof, oof. Spotify. You ever meet your hero? You ever do that? Because I was doing I don't remember who it was about the other day, but there was a whole, like, someone was doing a whole, like, never meet your heroes thing. I don't remember who it was about, though. But then and how it didn't go well for them, right? And I was like, who even is my hero? I don't know if I've ever met. Because, like, it's not even just not meeting one. I don't know who my hero is. There are people who I love, like celebrities that I love more than anything, like Leo. He's not my hero. You know, I would be, honestly, bro, I don't want to be within like 10 yards of him. I'll be 15, but I don't want to be within a range where we could have a conversation because I'm going to say weird shit to him. I don't want to do it. But like a hero, like idol, like that's somebody who you're like so influenced by, like Bill Simmons. Like, no, like, yeah, it would be like the Podfather, like Bill. That would be sick. It would be one of the coolest moments of my life to just get to like shake his hand and being like, hey, thanks for the last like 15 years of my life. You know what I mean? Like, that would be really cool. I would just rather like work for him though. You know what I mean? Other than that, like if I met Obama, what am I saying to him? You can answer that too if you want. I don't think of him as a hero. I just kind of just popped into my head. What would you say to Obama, or have you ever met your hero? Let me be clear. No, because he probably gets that all the time. Now, I don't know if that's true. Do you think more people to Obama's face now or when he was president do impressions of him to his face? Do you think it was more fun I don't give a shit about that. Do you think it was happening more when he was president? This is such a question. I don't know. I don't even give a shit about this answer. I don't really care about you participating. This is such a dumb question. No, I do care if you participated. That sounded really mean. I said that out loud. I'm going to immediately backpedal on that. That sounded way too mean. So let me still just do it, okay? I don't know. When he was still the president, because it was like you had the anger translator thing and people... No, this question sucks. What would you say to Obama if you met him? And have you ever met your hero? Apple Podcast really blew it at the end there. We're having such a nice show. Apple Podcast. What's up? If you're watching this on YouTube, sure to leave a like, subscribe, nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. Show's back, and I will catch you guys in the next one.